Hello everyone, welcome to BrainyHeart. In this episode, I'd like to talk about neuroplasticity and how it is connected to growth mindset directly. What is neuroplasticity? We have to understand that first. Until 1990s, we used a test, an IQ test, that was created in 1900 by Mr. Brainy. And we thought until 1990s that our IQ is fixed, so is EQ. I mean, at that time, EQ didn't play a real matter. We just measured people's ability to process information because it was important by then. Today, neuroplasticity or neuroscience has found out that our brain is actually plastic. We know that for 20 years, our brain capacity is increasable and also decreasable. How we can increase, and this is all about it, neuroscience deals with or investigates the possibilities how we can increase our brain capacity, right and left hemispheric activities, also the cognitive minds. We have two cognitive minds. One of them ticks with the fixed mindset, remembering the last episode, and one of them is actually refers to the right hemisphere, the growth mindset, when we just think on security, safety, then we fire the neural networks on the security part of our brain, namely the left hemisphere. And when we just think on, well, I can do it, maybe we can handle it, let me take a look at the situation from different perspectives. And every time when we take a look at something from different perspectives, we tend to fire new neural networks, going right and left in every direction, right? And every time when we just think about our security, our neural networks only in the left hemisphere strengthening. So I think you can just imagine the picture and coming with me. So knowing this, neuroplasticity is also understanding how this very organ entirely functions, right? So the frontal cortex, this is actually who we are, the entire character, the I am feeling, or oh, I like to be connected to the rest of the feeling, all these things is happening over here. That's your personality, the cockpit, bam. And seeing this yourself operated from these two giant computer processors, you have to also understand as a smarter 21st century human being, that hey, I have to basically fire in both directions certain networks. Neuroplasticity is there, and you have to know that by now. So I have to use these operators consciously. So if I have deficits to fire neural networks on the analytical thinking part, the name of the left cognitive mind and left hemisphere, then I have to go for it. What do? Well, I basically do sports, do Sudoku, do mathematical exercises, etc. So we know that IQ is basically improved, left hemisphere is just basically trained, the brain is a muscle, right? It's trained when you do these kind of things, and when you take a moment for yourself, mindfulness, right? Yoga classes, true meditation, concentrating yourself to here and now, basically fires and trains the muscles on the right hemisphere. So we made a rocket science out of it over the years. In the last 3, 4, 5 decades, left hemisphere is really smart, wants to make money, right? So you don't earn money. Then we just had like 4 decades ago, we basically had this, I can make more money fire. With that fire, we analyzed and made rocket science about everything. We made this simple HR management to talent management, conflict management, this management, that management. We broke it down and we just tried to sell people, categorize people down to their blood groups, I say all the time, into boxes. Left hemisphere is really a genius at doing that, right? So with the entire creativity of the right hemisphere, they worked hand in hand, but we made too much complexity in there. We made too much complexity in analyzing and categorizing people. Today, we have to break it down back to the roots, like General Motors did years ago by now, and all the phenomena, all the companies, basically, they try everything, right? They make a rocket science of everything. They say, oh, we can do that. Why? With the gear, with the greediness of money making, and but it's enough. So, like, and this is where we are right now as the 21st century modern human being. We have to understand it's enough. We made enough rocket science of everything. So that is why when you take a look at the trends, so living more simple, so this old Italian espresso machines are, going back from this full automatic, machines that we had, like they could go washing, cleaning, they could do anything, right? And except for coffee cooking. And now we basically are going all to a simplifying our life concepts. So when we take a look at the trends, we work. Right, so like big offices that we are tending to go. The companies more and more creating these large office rooms where we work together. Right, there are social activity rooms, there are relaxing rooms, there are think tanks in our offices. Why? Why? Because in the 21st century human being, because we don't have any survival problems anymore, right? So we don't have to go in the wilderness and survive. As modern human being has no longer survival problems, we would like to be connected with the others. Right hemisphere would like to be stimulated. And the next centuries, we have to master to what degree we have to mix these. Today, still, information processing is extremely important from us, right? When I do assessments for companies, I'm looking for personalities 60% on the left hemisphere, 40% on the right hemisphere, right? So we need this mix. However, I can imagine in 10-15 years, then we were going to look for personalities at workplaces who use 50% their left hemisphere, analytical part, information processing part, and 50% of their creativity, intuition, their social skills, intuition, emotional quotient. Referring back to the last episode, our normal programming is negative, right? Because we had to survive through the course of our development, we had to survive, we had to make sure that things go smoothly so that we can make our survival. One of the reasons of the millennials why they feel entitled in so many things is that they're also ticking the boxes. Namely, they don't have any survival problems anymore. So they say, well, when I just do 1 or 2 graduations, speak 5 languages, and do a gap year in New Zealand or Australia, then I am qualified or I'm entitled to earn 75 or 80,000 euros. So this is the entitlement of the millennials on one hand. On the other hand, when we take a look at the statistics around the world, then we see after $75,000, the survival issues of everyone is just disappearing. Then everything becomes a kind of luxury problem, right? After $75,000, you cover all your costs, and also you can save a couple of €100 monthly. You can put it to the side. So what happens then? You get a kind of purchase power. What do you do with this purchase power? We learned, because left hemisphere is just very easy to manipulate. And then immediately say, okay, it's nice. So we just started with this buying power. So you had the money, so you could buy for it. So we bought. The younger generation bought, and we just know so many examples of the younger generation being totally in debt and having problems to pay their bills after a certain time, because they were in this evil circle of buying and purchasing things all the time, and they overdid with that. So we have to stop that in one way or the other. Secondly, this left hemispheric manipulation, I call it this way, made us also not to see what the trends are like. So we have to stop genuinely stop making rocket science of things, because left hemisphere tells you, okay, you know, like when you buy an iPhone XS, then you will be belonging to the class of so people. So, you know, buying and purchasing things made us to believe that we belong to a certain, in China they call it guanxi, yeah, to a certain class. We call it also here in Europe. That's not it. That's not the answers we are looking for. 21st century human being is sensing right now there are other trends. There is minimalistic trends that are going. There is connectivity trends that is going. Sharing is being happiness. Being happy trends are going around. So we are in this shift, this mind shift of understanding, and also maybe the mind shift of what we created. And we have to wake up from there. And this is our task as the 21st century modern human being, to analyze, okay, you know, these are the trends we created and how we can create the future. Do I have an answer for this? I don't. But I'm looking forward to the future with the new generations as well. I'm in Generation X. I enjoyed another mindset, but I'm enjoying also this very mind shift. Back to my life. 10 years ago, I had a complete different working life. 10 years ago, I had 2 fixed assistants coming over here 40 hours and doing their work, and we had a lot of copies, paper in there. And today, basically, I've got 6 colleagues who are working with me, but around the world, and they don't have to physically be in my office. And 10 years ago, there was not BrainyHeart in my life. Today I have to schedule. I said to myself sometimes today in the morning when I was driving to work, I said to myself, okay, this is the life you are creating. That's welcome to the 21st century. You have to communicate to your audience by this way, by BrainyHeart. So, and I had to schedule certain days in my work life and come to work with a certain mindset so that I can speak to you all, give my know-how, give my expertise, and well, come to the 21st century, I say all the time, and enjoying this shift in my work life. It's a part of my life. I'm learning with it. I'm learning to articulate myself in 10-15 minutes in a plausible, very simple way. This is a discipline that one had to learn. Without my coach Kat, wouldn't be possible. But so this is another discipline we have to, or I had to learn, and I'm learning day by day. And this is a mind shift we have to make. Our life is changing, and I have a new slogan or a slogan about this. I say all the time, change is the new normal. We have to grasp it. We have to live with it and roll with it, rather than whenever a change comes to our lives. I see it with my clients in companies, SMEs, groups, internationally operating groups. Whenever department or division I go, then they say, oh my God, there's another change we have to deal with. Well, welcome to the 21st century. Change is the new normal, and this is how we can best stimulate the neural networks in our right hemisphere so that we can increase the brain capacity. If we continue hanging on to the old procedures and processes, we will not be able to fire new neural networks, and our brain will just get old. If we just stick to the good old things, no news is good news. Only the cash is the right truth, they say in a word that translated from German into English. You just have this good old sayings, no news is good news. No news is bad news, because to hold on to the old structures is not what will bring us to the next level. So, we learned in this episode that brain is plastic, and we can basically change its potentials, capacities. We can also, among all, not thinking positively is one hand is good to just exercise growth mindset regularly is very good. However, remember your brain is a muscle, so you can also treat it like a muscle. What do I mean with this? You can totally and perfectly take some supplements. Magnesium, you can naturally get it from nuts, any kind of nuts. You can also buy magnesium tablets and take them on regular basis, daily basis. You can eat avocados, broccolis, and any kind of berries, basically. So strawberries, blueberries especially are very good for your brain, and will give your brain the right habitat to create new neural networks. A wonderful example of neuroplasticity is also from our time. It was a wonderful BBC documentary as well, Mokens of Andaman Sea. Mokens can see underwater, and they can also hold their breath underwater up to 5 minutes. Anna Gislin from Sweden, as a scientist, was so fascinated by Mokens, she basically said, I can do this with the Swedish children. She took a 5-year-old boy and she taught in 21 days, because children can create neural paths faster than adults. She took a 5-year-old young boy, and he could do, after 21 days, just like Mokens, underwater seeing and holding his breath up to 5.6 minutes. Anxiety, which I'm going to talk about next time, how hormones, the cortisol, anxiety, being anxious about changes, being negative about any situation or occasion that happens in our life.